insurance.com or give them a call at 586-238-3535. And of course, today's episode is brought to you in part by our friends at Connection, the CRM built for closers. If you're a real estate agent, entrepreneur, or small business owner looking to automate, follow up, and close more deals and stay top of mind, then Connection is your secret weapon. Go to yourconnection.com and take control of your pipeline today. Now, whether you're tuning in live on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, or X, catching the replay on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever you stream, we're glad you're here. Do me a favor, hit that like button, drop a comment, and share this with a friend, and make sure you're subscribed so you never miss an episode. All right, guys, let's get locked in. We've got a powerhouse show lined up today, and if you're in business or real estate or just building something big, this one is for you. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back into the Elite Real Estate Podcast, where we go live every Friday morning, dive deep into the business of real estate, entrepreneurship, and all those kind of things. You can find us eliteedgenetwork.com, where everything is built inside of that. And find old episodes. Find us on the Elite Real Estate Podcast. Again, wherever you find podcasts, whether you're listening now or later. So I'm super excited to be joined in today. Our guest today is going to bring some fire to everybody, and we are excited to have him on. And I'm going to bring him on right now. Mr. Andrew Becker, how are you, my friend?
What's up, man? Happy to be here. Excited.
Oh, man, I'm excited to have you on. We kind of linked up social media wise, trying to figure some things out, what we should be doing, what we shouldn't be doing. And man, we have a lot in common. It was like, oh, we got to get you on for sure. Like we had to do this.
Yeah, I think the end result of that connection that we had earlier was we should be doing everything together. So this is the one of many, right?
Yeah. And it's funny you say that. It's one of those things in our business that we get away from. Everybody wants to protect their own stuff and not do everything together. And, you've been in real estate for a long time too. And it's like, why can't we all just get along and like just do the right things, right?
Dude, here's one thing that I heard somebody say in a mastermind that I was at in Nashville a while back. And she said, those at the bottom compete, those at the top collaborate. So ever since I heard that, I was like, I'm going to just try to partner, collaborate, and do cool stuff with cool people from now on. And not hide anything, share everything I can, make everybody's lives better as best as we can possibly do that with each other. So that's my new mantra moving forward.
Oh, man, I love that. So those at the bottom compete, those at the top collaborate.
Yep.
Oh,
think deep about that.
Yeah. And it's true. Like, again, the more people I know and I'm surrounded with, like when you look at like top producers and you're around people that are building big businesses and doing all the right things, they're like, You ask questions and they give you the answer.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, here's how I did this. And it's like, there's no hiding it.
Well, here's the thing, man. All this information that we ever talk about, it's available somewhere, right? Like you can now go out and find it online. It's the collaboration, sharing, partnering, making it fun, in my opinion, that's the most important with people that you know, like, and trust and want to be around. But I could tell 10 people my exact recipe for exactly how I did X, Y, and Z and made $10 million, and they could do nothing with it, right? And then there's the ones that I could tell and they can execute on day one and build and work really hard, and then everyone else in between. So that's the kind of takeaway. Like this information is out there. You can learn from so many different people, but at the end of the day, what are you going to do with the information? That's on you. It's on the person that you're sharing with and doing the stuff with.
Oh, I love that. And it's so right. You're so right. It's because there is information out there, right? But am I doing it the most efficient way, or are you doing it the most efficient way? And you can show me how to be more efficient with my time.
That's also part of the key right there.
Yeah. Like again, with social media or your CRM or whatever it is, like you can say, oh, I'm using this but you're using it better than I am. Yeah. Right. It just, how do I share the system and how is it working better? And why don't I help you be more efficient with your time? Not that it's going to take away anything from my business.
Yeah. It's like, it's the what that's important, but then the how do you actually go and do it? That I think you're alluding to. So yeah, I 100% agree, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So now, Andrew, you're in the DC area, right?
Yes.
How long you been in the business?
So I started back in real estate in 2013. So for about 13, crazy for me to say that, 13 years now.
Yeah. But you have an interesting past before that.
I do. I
Tell everybody
oh,
where you worked before that.
such a weird past. I worked at the Pentagon for 7 years, supporting the men and women in uniform for the Air Force nuclear enterprise. So nuclear weapons and human capital and everything related to our stockpile. So it's quite interesting, but like I told you before, I learned so much and I took away so much from the people that I worked with. I used everything that I learned working there for almost a decade and brought that into my real estate world and my real estate journey. So it was a fun time, man. I got to
Yeah,
travel around and see a lot of cool stuff.
I'm sure you did. And now, so did you have? Were you like top secret access? Like, like? Is there stuff you can talk? You can't talk about?
Yeah, I mean, I worked in a skiff. If you're familiar with that, it's like no cell phones, no windows, no recording, like that kind of thing.
Okay.
Um, it was a TSSCI. I forget what that stands for, the SCI part, but top secret something. It was a couple levels short of White House Yankee security clearance type of stuff, but it was cool. And yeah, definitely there are things that I learned that they didn't want me sharing.
Oh man, that's so cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool because I think it's like a movie, right? Like you have all these top secret things, and then you have to watch your back all the time because somebody might take you out any moment.
Yeah, I wasn't that important, but I appreciate the confidence in that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that one of the coolest things walking around the Pentagon is there's a lot of people that work there. It's the biggest office building in the world, and I'd be walking down the hallway and be like, "Oh, that's the Secretary of Defense. Hey," and he's like, "Hey, how you doing?"
Yeah, that's probably. Did you knock his books out of his hand or anything?
No. He had security guards around him, so that would not have been good for my career at that point.
Yeah. No, it's so cool though. Like how to cool you walked around in the Pentagon. You know what I mean? Like you had to go in places where you couldn't take your cell phone or nothing. You had to.
Let me just tell you real quick. This is a side little story, but my dad worked at the Pentagon for about 45 years.
No way.
My older brother worked at the Pentagon. My mom met my dad at the Pentagon. My aunt and my grandpa both worked at the Pentagon. My little brother and I, during high school, delivered papers to all the secretaries of the Air Force, Marines, Navy, Army, Defense for the Gannett Times. I don't even know if that's a newspaper anymore, but
right.
when we were in high school, we would pick up newspapers in Springfield, Virginia, drive them to the Pentagon and deliver them to those high level guys every Sunday morning. So I actually got to work in the Pentagon when I was 15, 16 years old as well.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
It's weird. Like, so I've been to DC a couple times. And if you guys have never been to DC, you need to go to DC and just walk around. I mean, it's like, to me, I'm a history guy too, though, right? Like I the movie National Treasure, like I think that's real.
I love that movie. I hope it's real. And the Book of Secrets sequel, I hope that's real too.
Yeah. I'm like, I love that. Like, I want to be Nicolas Cage in that movie and go around and try to find the treasure, Me
too. That's one of my top favorite movies.
Yeah, me too. And everybody's like, that movie's dumb. I'm like, no, it's one of the greatest movies ever.
Yes, cool. We have even more in common, Jimmy. So
I know.
Let's talk about movies.
Yeah. Oh man. But so you've been in real estate for, about 13 years, right? You made this transition. You said, I'm going to go, made this transition into real estate from the Pentagon, which might be the most interesting story ever in real estate. But talk to me about your business. Like you started off a little bit different too, and doing some different things, not traditional real estate in a sense.
Yeah, I'll also tell you, I overlapped 2 careers for about a year, 2 years. So I remember taking real estate phone calls from the staircase in one of the back staircases that I found that was quiet in the Pentagon, which is really weird to think back. I'd have conversations with buyers and sellers and my team, my partners, as we were growing the team from a hallway, hoping that, my bosses didn't walk by and hear me talking about real estate. So that was super interesting. But I made the transition. I resigned my position with the Air Force in 2014, 2015 we started the team in 2013. So did that for about a year or two overlapping. So I essentially had 2 jobs, but we started in retail at KW actually, and started helping buyers and sellers. But then we figured out about this thing called wholesaling. And that's when kind of like our exit strategy started to change a little bit as we started to get really good at numbers and data. That's also another thing that I'm super into, is like data-driven decisions are probably the most important thing you could do as a team owner and an operator. But when we started to look at what was actually producing is when we actually started to optimize and get really calibrated and strategic with all of our approaches writ large as we tried to build a better and bigger operation.
Yeah. And it's funny how you say that, because that's where we lose you and I's, connectivity, is when you get into the numbers. But no, but I've learned that over time, right? Like that, you have to be data driven
Yeah.
to run a blossoming organization, right? Like to really turn the screws and figure out which ones you need to turn, which ones you need to loosen, right? Turn left, turn right, get everybody going on the right page. You got to really know what your numbers are. So
Yeah.
that, it becomes very important on that end.
Yeah, and I will add, just in case anyone listening is not thinking about numbers this way, we not only did that for operations, so like lead sources, revenue by lead source, leads, all that good stuff by lead source, we did it for people as well. So when you think about it, Jimmy, there's a return on investment. If you put $1,000 into a website every month and it returns 10, that's pretty good. We also had to track that because we had a lot of moving parts and a lot of moving people and team members and compartmentalized departments within our operation. So we wanted to know, if I'm paying Jimmy $5,000 a month to answer the phones and set appointments, what is he returning in the form of revenue coming in from appointments that he was procuring cause of? And, kind of moving way ahead here, when it came time to have like a difficult conversation or just a really awesome conversation about how somebody was performing, it wasn't like, hey man, I don't think you're doing that great, or I think you're doing amazing. It was like, pull up your dashboard, let me see your numbers. You understand that you're only bringing in 2,500 a month. Like, what's happening?
Right.
What's going on? But the way we collected this data and the analytics with our system was in real time. So our system would kind of like, we never had to go and look. It would just email us, every day. I got the reports that I was responsible for overseeing got emailed to me at 8 p.m.
Okay.
And I would just look for trends. And I'd be like, okay, Jimmy, your role is to set 2 appointments a day, 10 a week, right? Monday through Friday. Report would come out 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 1, 1. And I'd be like, wait, what happened? Like, are you okay? Are you sick? Did you get another, like, what's going on? So we caught that. Instead of having to react, we were able to proactively catch things early on to make pivots quicker. Because in this game, it's all about numbers. Marketing's just a math game to us at this point. And the quicker you can see what's working and most importantly, what's not, you pivot, you optimize, and you gain that 1% of getting better every single day.
Right. No, and it's true. If again, this is the thing I really find that interesting, because if you're not keeping up with it and you say, all right, I'm going to do a check-in every 30 days.
Yeah.
Well, man, you could have 3 bad weeks by the time 30 days rolls around, and you could be totally off track.
And this is a cyclical world that we live in this real estate industry, where you can go like this with like your closings and your money and your revenue that's coming in. And that's very dangerous. So the more you can get out in front of avoiding that collapse of like good month, bad month, good month, bad month kind of thing, the better your stress levels are going to be, the better your team is going to feel, the better you're going to feel about your team, and the better the operation is going to run. But it's very important to not do what you just said and wait till the end of the month or the end of the quarter to check in or to know. Can I share a really quick story about why kind of this was an aha moment. So very early on, a few years into our operation, we hired a coach, and that coach was $20,000 like upfront to come from Florida to fly to our office in Arlington, Virginia, and meet with us for one day, right? So we had him for like 10 hours. So super important, right? That's like $2,000 an hour. He was like, hey, Andrew, I'm going to be up there in 2 weeks. I want to know every single lead by source, which ones you set appointments for, which ones you held appointments for, the drop-off rate for each, the ones you held, what were the conversion rates, what were the overall conversion rates for your team, what were the conversion rates by individual agents, how many did you sign, how many did you close, what was the closing average at both gross commission, top line, all the way through cost of goods sold to bottom net profit or revenue or loss, right? For everything. And Jimmy, like, I didn't have any of this organized. So I was like, Gary, Keith, Dan, like, what did you set that appointment? Did you sign? Like, I was looking at emails, I was looking at texts, I was looking at spreadsheets, I was looking everywhere. Stressed beyond belief, working like hours just to try to get this data together. So he comes 7 a.m. He's like, show me the spreadsheet. He goes, ask me 3 questions and goes, this data is crap. I can't trust it. Just like basically turn it off.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. And it was in front of people. Like, it wasn't a good feeling. So it's like, how do I avoid this? So every time stuff like that happened, man, I was like, okay, that was horrible. How can I automate this now? How can I use technology to help me produce whatever it is, what we need to produce? So in our company, just real quick, we built our own system where there's one way to submit like an appointment, one way to submit a close, and every phase. By doing that the same predictable, repeatable way, we were collecting mandatory fields, and those fields informed all of our dashboards and our reports. So as soon as you set, hey, I set an appointment with Jimmy, it's a PPC lead, click, all the reports would update in real time and then get emailed to the leadership team later that day or early in the morning. And that's how we solved the data collection and integrity issue that we had on our team. We got rid of every other way. You were submitting an appointment with 10 pieces of information. I was submitting an appointment with 2. So our data was all jacked. So we made it 10 from you, 10 from me every single time, the same thing over and over and over again. It was boring. Yeah. But it was the right thing to do. And that's what we basically learned. If you want to grow and scale, it has to be kind of boring or else it's chaos. It's going to be chaotic.
I'm glad. I hope everybody can hear that, because I say that all the time. Like if the more boring you get, the more money you're going to make.
Yeah.
And the more time you get back.
Dude, here's the thing. It's not only an operational perspective of efficiency gain, but think about when you bring in a new, we call them ISAs, inside sales agents, basically like phone people. They call people, they set appointments, they answer the phones. When you have a boring, predictable, repeatable process that everybody is following the same way, how easy is it to train that person? What do I do when I set an appointment? You click this, you fill in this fields, you hit submit. Yeah, but what else? No, that's it. Then the calendar gets sent, an email goes out, this happens, that happens, this happens. All the low-hanging fruit administrative tasks that need to happen were triggered via that automation of just having a person on our team submit a form. And we had that for every single form from a new lead all the way through closed. So it just made training that much better. And it made people appreciate the organizational effort that our team had versus like other teams that they may have worked on that they're like, well, what happens when it's like this? We're like, well, you kind of do this and it's not really that, like, and they're like, oh, I'm not really sure like what I should be doing. So it just made bringing someone on that much better and easier because they didn't have to worry about learning anything difficult.
Right. And like, as a coach, right, from a coach's heart, it's easier for me to drop in and coach that too. Yeah. Right. Because I got to coach you up because so you didn't click the button. You got to click the button. Right.
Yeah.
Like that's like,
it's twofold. We gained two things here, dude. Number one, what did you do or you didn't do? But we call standard operating procedures, SOPs, playbooks. So we have playbooks for everything that we did down to like the coffee machine, right? So not only did we make it as easy on the team members as possible to execute on, hey, I signed a listing agreement. What do? You click the listing agreement sign button, a form pops up and you submit it. But the playbook itself was auditable, right? Because you're supposed to follow it. And most of it was automated via tech anyways. But when someone screwed up, and it was very rare when you're updating our CRM if someone screwed up, but if someone screwed up on the execution of, let's say, a listing signed form gets submitted and the photos don't get scheduled, you bring up the listing signed form playbook. And at the bottom, it's like, did you do A? Did you do B? Did you do C? Did you do D? And you're like, oh, I didn't do C. And I'm like, cool, that was the problem. Well, let's go to the C part. What did you not understand? And they're all live documents in our Google Workspace. So you can edit them in real time if like the website from the, the scheduling tool changes. But then I'm not like, well, walk me through, Jimmy, what did you do? And you're like, well, I called them and then I did this. And I'm like, wait, like I don't call them. I just go to why don't you go to the website? So you're auditing a process that's set in stone. And then you're making real-time updates as needed. Every playbook also has a primary owner, but they're all available to all the teams, organized by department, like sales and coordination team, marketing, that kind of thing. So it's very easy and accessible. But then when things do go awry, you're like, well, did you do these 4 things? No, you didn't do 3. Okay, let's fix that. Okay, boom. Now everyone's up to speed again, and it's back to let's not screw it up.
God, that's so good. That's so good. And you guys developed that all on your own, just out of after you had this coach come in, right, and kind of call you out a little bit, that's what coaches' jobs are, is to come in and call you out a little bit, right? Like, you pay me a lot of money, you can pay me a lot of money, I'll fly out there and I'm going to tell you you're screwed up on.
So let me tell you this: we borrowed ideas, we model and then modify, Jimmy. So I didn't come up with the idea of an SOP. Obviously, those have been in use by people for like the last 200 years.
Yeah.
But we model and say, okay, how do we get better organized around this topic? What are other people doing? Okay, cool. Let's go do that. And then modify it for how we want to run things. So I got the idea of the playbook library from, you've probably heard of a coach, Dan Martell. He has an awesome book. If you haven't read it, Buy Back Your Time is it was a game changer for me.
Okay.
But I got hyper organized around a living, breathing playbook library, again, divided by department. So everyone on the team that has access to it doesn't have to bother me. Not saying that they bother me, but they don't have to take my time away from working on the business. They can just go access it themselves. And if they're in the marketing department, every single marketing playbook is right there. How to post social media, how to do the podcast, how to do this, how to do that. The idea, Jimmy, is, and this is from Dan's book, getting somebody to do 80% of something is 100% awesome. They should, if you have the right person in the right seat, be able to critically think enough to get it to 100%. If they are not able to do that and follow the playbook, then potentially you've hired the wrong person for that seat. So that is another way to kind of audit. But the idea is someone comes into your marketing department as head of whatever or social media person. You're not spending time for 2 weeks showing them everything by yourself. And then that's 2 weeks of my time that I just got taken away from doing higher level revenue generating activities, partnerships, things like that, bigger picture items. So you're like, hey, Jimmy, here's the marketing department playbooks, read through them. And inside of a playbook, we do a camcorder method where we're walking through a screen record of ordering pictures online or whatever it is, right? We're talking through it. We also use Loom and Scribe, if you've heard of those, simultaneously.
Okay.
So as we're clicking, Scribe is snapshotting pictures and putting it into a step-by-step screenshot where you can then go in and edit, which makes it incredibly efficient. It costs like $10 a month. So if you have not used Scribe yet, go out and get it. And then there's the high level. So we have a camcorder method of me talking through doing something. We have a Scribe PDF attached to the playbook where if someone doesn't want to learn via video, they can learn via a step-by-step. And then we have a checklist at the back, at the bottom of it that says, hey, did you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Those are the critical things that you have to check off in order for this playbook to get executed successfully. And then we just say, go bring yourself up to speed and let me know.
Here, don't screw this up.
Just go do this. This is what you have to do. If it doesn't make sense, find the primary owner of the playbook and ask them questions about it. Right. But I don't need to sit with every single new person that we brought on our team anymore, which I did before. I'd be like, oh my God, Jimmy's going to be a new agent. What do we do? Oh, 50 things to do in your first 90 days.
Yeah.
Let's create the wheel new every single time. I was like, let's stop doing that. That's awful use of our time.
Right.
So here's another thing. And then I'll stop ranting about playbooks. I'm OCD. So if you're not picking up on this, you guys, here's another thing that I try to do with all my companies that I have. The first question I always want people to ask either aloud or in their mind is, when we're doing anything, do we have a playbook for this already? If the answer is no, you go get the playbook template, you delete the blank and you put the podcast playbook, and then you start a freaking playbook and you put it in the marketing section or wherever you think it makes sense.
Yeah.
If you do it in real time as things pop up, and literally do it for every single minuscule task that you can potentially think of, if you put in the time to do this one off as they come up, I promise you the juice will be worth the squeeze. As you, if your goals are to grow and scale, I should mention that. Or do what I started off doing is every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. before I had all my kids. I have 4 kids now, but I was able to do this before. From 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., I would make one playbook for an entire 52-week schedule. That is 52 playbooks that I did not have 52 weeks ago. And I would also try to come up with playbooks as we needed to, right? So how do you add a new user to the CRM? Do we have a playbook? No. Okay. Add a new user to the CRM playbook. Cool. That's done. Do this in real time. Save time over the length of your career by putting in that level of administrative work first. And then guess what? Like what we were talking about on our before we started shooting, there came a time in my business, Jimmy, where I was like, I don't want to answer the phones anymore. So let's hire people to do that. Then we started leveraging people at every single step and every single phase in our company. And guess what? I was telling you, I'm not even in my company anymore. It's still running. It's still going, but my awesome partners are running it and we're completely leveraged out. And I took my system and framework for that company, the team, and I plugged it into Billions. I plugged it into Brighter. I plugged it into Probate Engineers. I plugged it into my podcast, Team Lead Talks podcast. Just the same thing over and over again. And that's what I teach now, that framework, because it's so important to growth and scale.
It's so important. And again, it can be in any part of the business, right? Like it could be in anything. And that's, one of the things we talked about, and I really want to get to you is the probate engineers, right? Because how you're scaling that out. And again, I'm a playbook nerd too. Like I have, and then I usually have a slide deck for the workbook. Like I have I have a slide deck, then I have a workbook.
I love how you said that. I have a playbook on building playbooks.
Because you said the one about the podcast. I built a workbook on how to podcast.
Yeah, me too. We have a very regiment process for our podcast. It's the same thing every day. Outreach, messaging, connection call, episode, post-production, the same thing over and over to publication, obviously. But yeah, I'm very nerdy. We could probably nerd out on like just playbooks alone for like the next hour.
We probably could, because I have enough. I even showed this to other my Google Drive, right? And people are like, there's so much stuff here. I'm like, I know, because they just keep doing this same thing. But now what's been cool, this is an interesting piece too, is with AI, right? I can take the PDF of the playbook, put it into AI, and it builds out a landing page off of that workbook.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're doing something similar, a little different, not to, turn the whole conversation to this, but we're building out for the probate stuff. Instead of having to follow a playbook and have like a VA do it offshore or a team member, we're building agents to just go and do and extract and execute on those playbooks for the probate stuff. So technology is getting crazy. The last 3 to 4 weeks, man, it's been nuts. There's like this gold rush, like a California gold rush for like AI real estate bots. If you're listening right now and you are not messing with Claude, AI, Claude Code, all this new agentic stuff, you're gonna get left behind. Not saying that to scare anyone, but efficiencies are being built out where I'm gonna be able to do production level wise so much more than the person who's just continuing to do it in in whatever CRM you're using,
right?
Without this, AI terminal, or however you want to call it, connection. So it's pretty crazy, dude. We can probably talk a whole episode about what we're doing with AI too.
Yeah. And we just had a question come in. It said, what do your playbooks look like? Is there a certain system for building the playbook?
Yeah, from Jen. I am happy to, by the way. I will share my playbook on playbooks and my playbook library with anyone and everyone listening, and my playbook library template. So I don't know. I'll get it to you,
Okay.
and you can get it out. But our playbooks are, Jen. Our playbooks are built on Google Workspace, and it's really quite simple. We have a spreadsheet that says the playbook library at the top, and then it's marketing, it's sales, it's product, it's whatever for like whatever we're doing, right? And then G&A. And then as we create these playbooks, and it's just a document that says the social media playbook, the creating a user in your CRM playbook, the ordering signpost playbook, whatever the lowest least common denominator task that you are doing, that's what we make a playbook around. It's the same template every single time. So it's repetition, and people are used to seeing these playbooks as well. So I will share it with anyone who wants it. You can then model it and modify it for Jen, how you do things at your real estate operation. But at least you won't have to start from ground zero.
Oh, I love that, man. Thank you. But it's big. It is. It's where because again, where do you start? How do you do this thing? I think it's a great question.
Yeah.
I think it's a great question. So then how did you build out Probate Engineers? Now, you have your systems, you have your playbooks, your processes, all those things. Where did the Probate Engineers come from?
Yeah, well, that was really easy. So going back to our data and our analytics, I read a lot, and I knew about the 80-20 Pareto principle, but I didn't realize how important it actually was. But as we started to collect data to see what was working from a lead source perspective, we had our 80-20. And this was another aha moment where it was like, man, we're running 50, 75, however many freaking lead sources that we had, but not all were the same, right? So as we got a little bit more clearer picture of like what was actually returning revenue, we started to have that 80-20. And for us, it was PPC, Google Ads, pay-per-click, cash offer type of leads. It was joint venturing with other people in our area. It was probate. We had a developer letter that we would send out on like a super fancy, like very expensive mail piece. And then some other mailers that we did. And then, different little ones. But probates were always like really high up there. And we did probates for 7-8 years. What we decided to do, Jimmy, was instead of going a mile wide and an inch deep in lead sources, we were like, why don't we just get really good at a few of these? We went a mile deep and educated ourselves, probate specific. I can also talk about PPC if you'd like, but we'll stick on probate for now. We were like, okay, what's this probate thing? Everyone's always talking about probates. I know about probates, but I very quickly realized that I didn't really know about probates. So we went all in. We educated ourselves on the terminology, the people, the processes, the timeline, the court system, everything that you as a real estate professional today, I'm assuming you do, just like you want to be able to talk about a property, right? And articulate different words and terms and make the homeowner be like, man, Andrew really knows what he's talking about when he's going to market my house for sale. I'm going to go with him. We said, how can we position ourselves to a personal representative in a probate file? The PR is the person legally responsible and the one that has authority, Jimmy, to go into a contract and sell the property. How can we position ourselves as a probate specialist in this niche? So when everybody else hits up a probate file and says, hey, man, I can buy your house, I can list your house, we're not talking about the property. We're like, hey, Jimmy, I realize you're going through this Jackson family estate, and I believe you're the PR. I just want to let you know I'm so sorry that you're going through this. I actually specialize in probate. I know all the ins and outs in Arlington County, Virginia, where we operate. There's going to be a lot of moving parts. Can I send you this checklist? It's called like the probate binder. There's just going to be a lot of people, a lot of dates to track, a lot of this, a lot of that. Would that be helpful? So instead of focusing on the property element, you're focusing on the probate element.
Right.
And I'll tell you this, there's a really good reason for this. Not only are you providing value, if you don't think you're providing value to the PR, then this is not the niche that you should get into. You have to really believe that you're providing value just like you do to a homeowner when you're selling their house or you're buying their house from them. If your exit strategy is, say, wholesaling, right, or buying and flipping, you're an investor, I'll paint two scenarios and you can kind of come to your own conclusion and give me the answer. But scenario A, hey, Jimmy, you're the PR for the Jackson family estate. I'll buy 10 Main Street from you for $250. You agree? Cool. All right. Let me know when like you can do it. Like I know it's in probate, but let me know when you're ready. Talk to you later. And then you're checking in. Hey, Jimmy, you ready? Oh, no, I can't figure it out. Hey, Jimmy, you ready? Oh, no, well, this got pushed. Hey, Jimmy, you ready? No. And then you have no freaking clue if that's ever going to change.
Right.
And we bucketed projected revenue, pending revenue, and closed revenue. Projected meaning we have a contract, but it hasn't yet gone into escrow or found the buyer or the end buyer or whatever. So we wanted to move that projected to pending to close because that's how you get revenue. So that's scenario A. I'll buy your house. Let me know when you're ready to sell. Scenario B, hey, I can actually bring in my probate attorney. His firm does 98% probate, so they're very well nuanced in everything that could potentially happen. By the way, he'll work for free. He or she will work for free and then get paid on the back end, but they will help expedite this process. Oh, by the way, do you have your letters testamentary yet or your letters of administration? Have you done inventory? Have you done the notice to creditors? Have you notified the heirs and beneficiaries? You have your family tree. Have you done this? Have you done that? Have you done this? Oh, you haven't? Okay, here's how you do that. Now, instead of me leaving it up to you in that scenario A, scenario B, I have inserted myself into the entire process and helped them expedite it. So I can get that projected revenue to pending revenue to closed revenue. And I'm not leaving anything to chance. I'm going to bring in who I need to bring in, act as a head coach, just like we need tall people to rebound at a critical juncture of the game. I'm going to bring in our 7-footers.
Yeah.
When you need something, you want to do an estate sale? I have someone who does an estate sale. Here's an introduction. So you're saving them stress, the chaos, the overwhelming feeling, number one. But number two, you're legitimately helping them accomplish the goal that they set out to achieve of liquidating that property, if that is their goal, right? In a faster way. Because what's going to happen? The average American sells a house or buys a house maybe never in their entire life or maybe once, right? Like on average. Right. How many times does an average American do probate that also has to sell a home? And they're like Googling, I'm the PR. What in the world do I do? I'm so scared. Like, I don't know. All my family's counting on me. My brother's, calling me every day saying, I need this money. I need this. Like, what are you doing? I can't believe it's taking so long. But then they get a letter from me that says, relax, I can help you. Here's a timeline. Here's this, here's that. Let's do this together. And then 9 other people are just saying, I'll buy your house. I'll buy your house. I'll buy your house. But Andrew's the one that said, I'll help you with probate. And naturally, the property element of that becomes the secondary, tertiary thing that you're helping them get through.
Oh man, so this is the thing. And I want everybody to kind of understand where he went here. Like, this is providing a level of service too, right? Like, this is not just I'll sell your house, right? To your point, I can call you, I can say I can sell your house. Can I? Sure. Can anybody come sell their house? Sure. Any real estate agent can do the same thing as any other real estate agent. They can plant a flag in your front yard and sell your house. No big deal. But what you're doing is you're providing a service and people of need that, again, which makes it technology, like we spoke a little bit about, is making that worse now. Because they're not going to Google anymore to look for the information. They're going to ChatGPT. And ChatGPT is telling them, here, just do this. It's not telling them the right things to do. It's just telling them what ChatGPT thinks is the right thing, right? Yeah. And so it makes it worse because now they're getting wrong information faster.
Yeah.
And what you're doing with this probate engineers is you're leveling up the agent, because this is what it really is about. The agent is now leveled up because now I can come in and speak to you. And I can talk to you about getting this attorney involved, and I can get you to this attorney, and I can get your things sold and do whatever. But instead of going, call me back in 2 weeks, I'll talk to you then. You know what I mean?
Hey, how's probate coming? Oh, I haven't even done X, Y, and Z. And there's very subtle nuances that you have to know. I'll mention one, like notice to creditors is a timeline where you have to notify them certain which ways, and that starts a clock. So if you don't start that for 6 months, and it's a 4-month window, that's 4 months 10 months that you
10
just
months now,
wasted
yeah.
because you didn't know what to do. And it's not their fault.
No.
Like, I didn't know anything about probate when I first started getting into probate, but we just started getting it just happened by chance that we would get probate leads. And they were like, another one. Like, what is this? Like, I know probate's when someone passes away, but like, how can we get even better? So long story short, there is, instead of broadening our skill set across 50 different lead sources and having to, bounce back and forth, we decided to go all in on a handful, get really, really good. And for the probate engineer stuff, I teach the A to Z, basically my playbook of probates. So how to set up a probate department to turn on that 7-figure single line of revenue source, lead source, into an operation. There's two things here. It's fortunate and unfortunate at the same time. It's unfortunate because obviously when a probate case opens, somebody had to pass away, Jimmy.
Yep.
But it's fortunate because probates come out every day.
Yep.
If you figure out how to go directly to the horse's mouth or the source of truth and pull them yourselves, stop being dependent on list service providers, playbook that, make it insanely efficient and effective, pull those every day, hit them 2, 3, 4, 6 weeks prior to all the aggregate lead source people who pay for that, with a different line of messaging. That is how you're going to start to get the reputation of the probate specialist. And you're going to start closing deals and talking to people weeks before everyone else who just bought the list starts hitting them up.
Right.
And then the people who buy the list are going to be like, man, all these probate things are already under contract. Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
So that's another thing that we got really good at, is we said, hell no, we're not going to ever, for as much as we can, we're not going to ever be dependent on the lead source provider. We're going to own our own lead source. So we paid for PPC once upon a time, but then we just started doing our own PPC and we controlled that. And we got really good at PPC like we did for probate. We bought probate lists once upon a time, but then we found our own and we optimized those probate lists, and we had runners going to the courthouses. We had VAs pulling the online portals, all on a playbook, the same thing over and over. And then we hit them with different messaging, and that's how we turn that into an operation. And the exciting thing is, once you know your numbers per county, because in America, there's about 3,200 different counties. Each county does it a little bit different. Generally, it's the same, but a little nuances here and there with what has to happen. But you franchise it in one county, you create that framework, and then you say, okay, I now know that in Arlington County, 46.7 probate case files come out every week, about 200 a month of those. Then you start doing percentages, set appointment, held appointment, signed, closed, revenue. Okay, I know that 200 come out, we're closing 5 a month, and we're making $22,500. So this is $100K just in Arlington. Well, I can't create these new files. Now let's go to Fairfax County, do the exact same thing. Now let's go to City of Alexandria, adjacent to Arlington County, do the same thing. Aggregate the probate department to say, writ large, we're doing X, but each individual county is producing Y, X, Z, or whatever it is, right?
Right.
Now, why don't we go Virginia statewide and learn virtual wholesaling? Now we're getting another exit strategy skill set under our belt, instead of going to chase the next shining lead object. So that's what our approach was, and that's what we teach.
Man, there's a lot to unpack there.
There is.
But it's so good. But again, it goes back to the basics, the playbook, right? The process, the streamline of that, those things. And it's everybody wants to know what your Instagram is. But we'll get to all his information. But yeah, the idea of this probate plan, was it just strictly you found out this, you just saw this little niche and were like, or did you do a couple probate deals and then figure out like, all right, I have to figure this thing out?
Yeah, it was the I think I mentioned this earlier, but I knew about probate, but I didn't know about probate.
Yeah.
We kept seeing probates because we also, another, rabbit hole conversation we can go down is list stacking probates to even further strategize and optimize which ones we would even try to get, like above 7 figures on 5 or more lists. That's when we got really dialed in. But to answer your question, we started doing deals and we list stacked. We had list stack software. Now we have our own version of it, but we're like, man, probate, man, another probate. Like, this is really weird. And this was not in real time at this point. This was in a spreadsheet where we had a VA kind of put together what closed and where the lead sources and what list they were on. And it was like highlight probate. We're like, what the heck? Like, why don't we try to figure this out? Because there's something to this. And then we figured out over time, this is a gold mine of leads coming out every day. Legal process of most of the time, there's property that needs to get liquidated and they have no emotional tie to the property. And they had to do it within a time frame. That is like, those are 3 crucial data points to be going after, right? As a lead source, to say, hey, I as a real estate professional need someone who's motivated.
Yep.
They don't even care about the property sometimes. Sometimes obviously they do, but most of the time they're like, I live in California. Can you be my boots in the ground in DC? Like, I don't want to fly across the country. Oh, by the way, I can't afford the house that I'm responsible for. I need to liquidate it to satisfy the debts, to pay off the collectors, and then distribute to heirs and beneficiaries. So there was like a built-in urgent motivation period. And we're like, why are we messing with like this lead source or that lead source, or doing like when they're not even motivated and we're trying to like talk them into it?
Right.
So we said, again, what's our 80-20? Probate was up there. We just went all in and never looked back.
Yeah. Now, for everybody else, I want you to explain what's that 80-20.
Yeah.
Like, what are you looking at for that?
So 80-20 Pareto principle. I forget the dude's first name, but somebody Pareto came up with this way back in the day. And it's basically 80% of your output, or in this case, let's say closed transactions, comes from 20% of your effort. So in this case, it was 20% of our lead sources were producing the bulk or majority of our revenue. So as we started to collect this data and actually looked at facts and not just like my gut feeling, I think Zillow's doing really good. Well, is it? I don't know. I think probates are doing really good. It was like, no, probates, we've closed 40 of them this year. We brought in $800K in gross revenue year to date. It is actually producing revenue. Why don't we look at this? So we went from, I don't even know how many at the peak, but 75, 100 lead sources. The list just kept going on and on and on and getting bigger and bigger, and got rid of all that noise and said, what are the 20% of lead sources that produce 80%? Let's just focus on that. So it made our lives a little bit easier too, Jimmy, by not having to manage 50 lead sources or even 40 lead sources or even 30. Now we just quietly manage about 5 to 10. But the top 5, like I mentioned before, were our PPC joint venture, probate. We had a letter and a postcard campaign that we do on repeat, and a few other ones that do produce, but not as often, that we just keep to, you know, one of those closes that keeps our lights on for the next 6 months kind of thing.
Yeah.
Probates were in that 80-20.
I love it. And again, because you dialed into your numbers so well and found out what works, what doesn't work, got rid of the stuff that doesn't work, honed in on the stuff that does, and built processes and workbooks and a thing around it. So now literally anybody can pick it up and run with it.
Yeah. And now flash forward to 2026. Now we're building agents to do stuff even better and more efficient, 24/7, 365. So I'll give you one example of that. In probate, if you're thinking about getting into probate, control the source. We call them day one probates in the Probate Engineers. So don't buy a list, control the source. If you're lucky, you can pull them online. We're creating agents that every 15 minutes will go into county XYZ, read through all the files in a matter of 30 seconds, pull and extract the 4 key pieces of information you need to market to it effectively and efficiently, organize it in a spreadsheet, skip trace it, get phone numbers, get emails, organize it and get a phone number, because we can talk about this too if you'd like. We track each campaign with an individual unique phone number for organizational purposes that feed right into our CRM as Probate April kind of thing. And then it also sends it to our direct mail house company. I don't do anything. Like, that is what we're building right now. So eventually we'll hit go, and then I'm just going to get phone calls. It'll say Probate April. And by the way, at 8 a.m., our Telegram daily intelligence brief will say, hey, Jimmy, last night I pulled 58 new Arlington County probate leads. Here's the new phone number. Plug it in your phone. Have a great day. Automatically for you. And then you get a phone call. What we do, Jimmy, is instead of having our phones ring and have like your name, we do a tracking ID number. So as if Probate April mail was like a person, we have it come into our phone as Probate April 2026, or however you want to organize yourself. So I know it's a business call. It's a different ringtone. It automatically gets recorded, the call. It gets put into our CRM. If you exist in our CRM, it'll add the recording and the call summary with AI summary notes to that lead profile. If you don't exist, it'll add you as a lead profile. It'll email me, new seller lead, Jimmy, whatever. Here's the recording. Click here. Now, boom, your entire team knows what's up and you're working it. That's the efficiency level that we're going to use to beat out everyone else and get to those leads better and faster and more efficiently.
And the other piece to that too is not only is that the efficiency you're getting all the information about, but you also have your agents trained up on probate. So when they do call in, they have a conversation about not just, do you want me to come over and list your house? It's like, have you talked to the attorney? Did you get this document? Do you have this?
Yeah. Here's another thing I'll add. So not all agents and not all team members are created equally also or as well. So we also track in our data who is better with buyers, who is better with sellers, who is better with wholesalers by lead source. Who's the best PPC guy? PPC are expensive, dude. They're in the DC market. We're paying 200, 280, depending on the competition level at any given point, but call it $300 per getting someone's information, not even talking to them. Right. So we don't give that to everyone.
And hopefully it's the right information.
We say, yeah, exactly. But it is doing PPC and our marketing budget injustice if I say anyone on the team can work PPC. Well, what about me, who I've done one deal this year? I don't have a good work ethic, and I answer one of those phone calls, and I have no clue what I'm doing. I just lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
So we look at that data and say, Andrew and Jimmy, you're the top two team members who have closed PPC deals. You brought in Jimmy, $475K, Andrew, $375K. You're the only two people on the team that are going to get PPC leads. How about that? Just get really good at PPC leads. Same thing for probate. Who's the best at having these conversations? Our appointment setters, we don't let everybody talk to probate leads. We let our top two people. And we let our top two people answer the PPC phone calls as well. Not all lead sources are created equal. Not all team members are created equal. It's a competition. You have to prove that you can convert to bring in money. If you do, you get the best lead sources. If you don't, you have to work your way up and convert on your own to get your conversion rates high enough for the team to trust you with this level of important lead source. So keep that in mind as well. You do not buy lead source. You want to really think about who's the best person on the team to convert at the highest potential level to bring in money and bring in revenue.
Yeah, and again, you're making the job so much easier for the agent because it's something they like, like they obviously like it if they know that much about it. If they're converting it at a high level, they like it because if they didn't like it, they wouldn't be converting it at a high level. We already know that part, right?
Morale, culture, all that stuff. I'll tell you the opposite. So we used to do I won't name it, but we did a lead source. We got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of leads. We're like, oh man, this is awesome. Each lead is $6. We're gonna kill it. Our ISAs were like, we can never get people to answer. Those that do have no clue. They never submitted anything. Those appointments that we even set, we have to sift through thousands of leads to get maybe one appointment that our agents didn't even want to go on.
Yep.
We're like, why in the world are we even doing this? Because it's a $6 lead. I'd rather pay $10,000 a lead, honestly. Yeah. If I know my average assignment fee is $30,000, that's an extreme, right? But I'd rather work less higher quality leads than sift through the garbage because it's going to kill your morale. No one's going to trust it, and it's going to lead to burnout, and people are going to dip and go do something different.
Or I'll just, I can go back to calling expireds and FSBOs. You know what I mean? And that's the same deal. If I'm not, I probably on the expired and FSBO side, I probably get better information than that lead source.
At least with those, dude, you know that they were at one point willing to sell their property because it was online and it was on the market.
Yep, exactly. So it's interesting, man. And we got about 5 minutes left. So where can everybody find you?
The easiest right now is my handle. Here's another playbook. strategy. My handle across every single social platform is I am Andrew Becker. It's the same across the board. So I am very active the most on Instagram and Facebook, but I'm also on LinkedIn. We're on X. We're on, all the social platforms. But reach out if you're interested in chatting, and I'll make time for you.
Oh, I love it, man. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I appreciate you coming on, sharing all this information. I know everybody got a lot out of it. Jen just said, this is amazing. So glad I can watch a replay. So, so you're going to have some stalkers, my man. And we'll see what happens out there.
Nice.
But this is amazing, because I think what you're doing is you're helping people streamline their business and taking it to another level just by doing the things they're doing already, but they're just doing it more efficiently. You know what I mean? Like if I know people that were on the call that do a lot of probate. You know, Al Adala was on here, and he just dropped off, but I know he does a lot of probate. Yeah. You're helping people do something they're already doing, but taking it to a next level. And I appreciate you for doing that, my man.
Yeah. If you put in the effort to do that and you don't quit and you don't give up, there's no reason you won't be successful as well. Doesn't even have to be about probate or PPC, right? Just any lead source. But efficiency in business operations is doing predictable, repeatable, boring stuff over and over again, so you can focus on the business and not in the business.
Yes. Focus on the right. Oh man. Yeah, we got to get you back on. And then we're going to cross-pollinate, because what's your podcast too?
I have a podcast, and I'm having you on it. I apologize for not feeling well enough to have you on it right now. But it's the Team Lead Talks podcast. Like the name ensues, I interview team leaders across the world now, where we've gone international, Jimmy. We went into Europe and UK and Mexico and Canada. So that's pretty cool. But I interview people and talk to them about their real estate journey and their problems and how they solved them. The key there is, if we can, if anybody listening to our podcast can take away just one thing that will better their life, their community, or their business, then we've achieved our goals. So that's the Team Lead Talks podcast.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I can't wait to get us some time on there and get together. But I put all those in the chat so everybody can see those. Where to find my man Andrew Becker at. And you and I need to stay close, because again, this coaching training stuff, man, I think is what you're building. I think we're doing a lot of similar things. So why not see how we can again leverage each other and do some better things for each other.
Love to collaborate with you, man. Like we talked about at the beginning, let's collaborate and do fun stuff together. So I'm open to any and all. In that and excited to see where that conversation can take us, dude.
Yeah, man, for sure. So, all right, guys, I appreciate you coming on, my friend. Thank you very much for joining us again. The Elite Real Estate Podcast, Elite Edge Network. Go look at eliteedgenetwork.com to look at all your coaching and coaching platform and go from there. The Elite Real Estate Podcast. Follow us. Look at it on YouTube is the Elite Edge Network. So, all right, guys. Andrew, thanks for joining me, my friend. Guys,
thanks for having me.
Next week.